Hi everyone, I'm Magnus Reftel. I work for the Norwegian Tax Authority, and I'd like to talk about something that we've been experimenting with and we really like. It's not really rocket science, it's more like common sense. And it's not a strategy for changing organizations, it's more like a tactic for collaborating between developers and operators. So at the Tax Authority IT department, we're a pretty traditional organization. We do plan, build, run. One set of people plan what should be done, another set of people, that's where I belong, build the stuff, and then another set of people run it. And from the people that run it, we've been getting these non-functional requirements, often vague, often inherited from earlier projects and so on. And we haven't really figured out what to do with them. As developers, we build something and we hope it's good enough, but it's not clear to testers whether it's good enough, but it was clear to operations that it wasn't really good enough. There's this quote by Dan North, one of the driving forces behind behavior-driven development, that requirements listed as non-functional usually imply that there's a stakeholder whom the team hasn't yet explicitly identified. If you look at it this way, for users, the functionality that you need from our system is creating case folders and registering documents in them and so on. Logging and monitoring and stuff like that, that's really cross-cutting concerns that they don't really care about as long as they can go to operations and get things fixed. But from operations perspective, logging and monitoring, that's what our system does. The functionality that the users need from it, that's in a way secondary. As long as the users are happy and don't come running, then that's fine. So maybe the requirements that we got from operations, maybe they were functional after all. And functional requirements we know how to deal with. We use something called behavior-driven development. And in behavior-driven development, we sit down, and developers, testers, and stakeholders, typically business, sit down and write concrete examples of things that the system should do in plain language with a little bit of structure to it. And we do it using a shared vocabulary so that we all have the same understanding of what we're actually specifying. And that reduces the risk of misunderstanding and writing the wrong software. And then we take these specifications and run them, in our case in Cucumber, but it could be some other behavior-driven development system, unaltered as test cases, which means that the specifications we write together with business are actually test cases. Another nice thing with this that we're not currently doing, but we're thinking about doing is structuring the specification suite to also work as documentation. That way you have living documentation that's machine validated. So for developers here, if you're not doing behavior-driven development, then try it out. It's really great. Before I did it, I had not read a requirement spec that was worth the time to read. Now I have. If you're doing behavior-driven development together with business, why not with operations? One thing to be aware of is that the integration will be different. With business, you're testing end-user functionality, probably driving Selenium or something. Here you will be driving SSH and Kill and Netstat and stuff like that, but shouldn't really be a problem for this crowd, right? If you're going this route of using the specifications as documentation, that means that you can actually get machine-validated operations manuals, like a configuration reference that shows when you change this setting, it has this effect. You get that running by restarting the server or sending this signal or whatever. For operations, if the developers working on the applications you're running are not doing behavior-driven development, suggest that they do it. If they're doing it with business, why don't they do it with you, right? Invite yourselves to specification workshops. You have the advantage here that you're technical people. As opposed to business, you can just sit down with that stuff. There was this thing a couple of years ago called behavior-driven infrastructure, where operations people described their infrastructure using Cucumber and then testing it. Great, try it out, but what behavior-driven development is really about is collaboration, so don't forget that. Sit down with developers, come up with specification for what you actually need from the applications. We found this to be a good tactic for collaboration, bringing developers and operations a bit closer together. There are more tactics, but this is one. Try it out. Thank you.